Hello and welcome to tonight's session of Hearts of Wulin, Monkey in the Scarlet Court. We're here for our technically fourth session of this game, and right off the heels of a hot escape by two of our characters in the last session. We've got the normal cast of reprobates back again. So what I'm going to ask people to do is I'm going to go left to right on the screen, and I'm going to ask people just to give a brief overview and a brief introduction to their characters. So starting with you, Alan, can you tell us a bit about your character, please?
Yes, I'm playing Mistress Secret Sun. She is the head of the Emperor's secret police, the Watchful Peacocks. She's been having a relationship with the supposed likely heir to the throne. We think the Emperor is dead, but I've yet to see that proven. The Reed Sundering Princess. But I have to say that Mistress Secret Sun saw a side of Reed Sundering Princess last week that is, I think, beginning to make her worry that that this will not be a princess she can easily manipulate if she gets on the throne.
Excellent, thank you. Ludo, can you tell us about the General Zhang Hen, please?
So General Zhang Yang has been a rising star, poster boy for the propaganda machine of the regime, as the example of a peasant that made all the way to general. In truth, he's a very conflicted individual that is haunted by his actions in the battlefield, especially in the last rebellion. And the fact that is now, at least according to him, the biggest threat, as he found out that the insurgents of the Red Orchid are active in the capital. And it turns out that he's going to be tangled out in something related with her ex-lover, Falling Blaze Princess, as she now stands accused of murder. But he's out in the city. He still does not know that. So I'm looking forward to see how he'll react.
Excellent. Thank you. And Paul, can you tell us a little bit about your admiral? Can you tell us a little bit about Li Ho Quinn, please?
Hello. I'm Paul, and I play Admiral Li Ho Quinn, an old salty sea dog who is actually a very, very basic person, who just likes life at sea. He, in the last episode, was accused or is implicated in the possible murder of the Emperor, and the last time we saw him was him and Princess Falling Blaze leaping into a river just as thousands of arrows descended upon their last position.
Excellent. Thank you. And Sabine, can you tell us about Princess Falling Blaze, please?
Sure. I am Sabine. I'm playing Princess Falling Blaze, who is a younger child of the Emperor, and previously she thought she was very unimportant, but maybe not so much. She has been given a broken sword by her stepmother, I think. Yeah, that was her stepmother, right? No, it was her sister. It was her sister who gave her that broken sword. It was secretly broken, so she wouldn't notice, but she did. Well, the Admiral did. She knows. She has, but she still has that sword. It was her mother's sword. And her mother was poisoned, and she thinks it was Secret Sun, but who knows? But it was the same poison that afflicted the Emperor. And to make things more complicated, the Emperor's bodyguard, Crystal Hammer, might be the reanimated corpse of her mother. But she had no time dealing with this because she was accused of poisoning her father, and then she had to run and jump off a wall into a river.
It all sounds very complicated.
It's a bit, yeah, she thinks it's a bit complicated too.
I feel obliged to point out that Secret Sun did warn the princess that the blade had been tampered with. I just want to get a little bit of credit in before we get started.
Yes, because you wanted to drive a wedge between her and her sister, of course. Or maybe not. Who knows? Falling Blaze is confused.
Excellent. Now, we are playing on the Gauntlet tonight, so we will be using some of the Gauntlet safety tools. The primary tool that we're going to be using is the X card. Now, I think everyone's familiar with the X card. Excellent. Just for the people at home, anyone actually watching this, there can be times in games you come across situations which are problematic for people. They won't necessarily be something that people will be aware of ahead of time. It can be people's phobias. It can be other material which can be quite tough for people to deal with and make them feel uncomfortable. At any time in this game, if you feel uncomfortable and you don't wish to proceed with the scene as it is, you can make an X on screen or just say, I'd like to X card that, at which point we'll stop the scene, pull back. I may ask for a little bit of clarity about what the problematic material is, but we won't ask you to justify it. The X card is the X card. If you use it, then we will address the situation, redress the scene, and move onwards. Now, everyone has entanglements in Hearts of Wulin, and at the start of each session, you get a chance to actually rewrite some of those. Has anyone rewritten any of their entanglements at the start of the session?
I have, because I think previously my romantic entanglement was that I was promised to Master Bao Dilan for political reasons, but I was still, of course, in love with the general, Ludo's character. But I've changed that because the whole betrothal seems rather irrelevant after the murder accusation. So I've changed it to my stepmother, Chen Lin, is accusing me of murder, but I'm sure General Sangheng will stand by my side.
Excellent. Anyone else changing any of their entanglements? Brilliant. Now, I think everyone actually leveled up at the last session. So has everyone updated their character sheets with the updates? Excellent. Okay. So we'll start the session. The credits come up. And the credits are in red. They fade to a black screen. And there's a flash of red light. Another flash of red light. There's a shoo noise as something flies across the screen, leaving a trail of smoke and sparks. And the camera pans down. And we're back at the gates of the Palace of Jin. This is a flashback. This is a flashback to the scene right at the start of our game, when Mistress Secret Sun had entered the palace and had confronted Red Orchid, the Queen of Jin. Do you remember how that proceeded?
Yes, we started with the general and I discussing his success in the siege. And then we see that through the gates of the palace, we see the figure we take to be Red Orchid. And I say to the general, wait a moment, we can perhaps end this without further bloodshed. And I walked into the smoke caused by the various rockets landing left, right, and center, and then we cut the flashback.
Excellent. So I believe we'll have you predominantly in the scene. The general can potentially come in later. So, Alan, what do you say to Red Orchid?
I say to Red Orchid, Madam, we had an agreement. I now intend to follow up on that. Do you agree?
My kingdom is in flames around me. My subjects dead on the ground.
I can offer you the safety that I previously guaranteed. And I gesture to the side. Now, what I'm retrospectively activating here is the final master move. When you work out a plan with someone, roll on 10 plus, hold 3, blah blah blah, to make it happen. So I guess what I'm seeking to do here is to have had a secret plan or a suggestion to Red Orchid that now I'm calling in.
Okay. So what was the offer that you made her?
I would offer her sanctuary and her life. and make sure that everyone thought that she was dead.
And what do you want in exchange?
Nothing, my lady. Simply I will know where you are.
That isn't good enough.
Bargaining is not a place that this is easy to do, lady.
And you see that there's another shadow in the background.
Am I to believe that you do not wish to proceed with our agreement?
I wish to proceed, but it must guarantee not just myself and a roundabout 16-year-old girl comes forward and steps to her mother's side.
That will be more complicated, lady, but it is possible.
There are guards outside.
Yes, but they will be more interested in your body than in you.
She reaches up and takes off the crown head, pulls the pin out and lifts off the crown headpiece that she wears. And she throws it at you.
I gesture, and this might be where you need me to make the roll, because quite how watertight this is, I think, depends on whether my plan comes off.
Okay, please roll then. Which consider all your cheese open at this point.
Oh, right, okay. I think that this is probably control, calculation, and reflection. If this plan is going to work, I have to have it absolutely gripped tight. So that is +2. So let me see what that generates. That generates 10. Which
excellent. Full hit.
Which means that this goes off as well as it could. So I hold 3, and I can spend those holds regardless of distance to add +1/4 to a roll, clear chi, produce needed items, blah blah blah. And so what I gesture into the smoke, and out comes a member of the Watchful Peacocks, dressed as Red Orchid. And I toss the crown to her. She puts it on, and then I kill her.
The Queen looks shocked.
It is important, madam, that you are dead.
But that was unnecessary.
Lady, you must trust me what is necessary. And now, go this way. And another member of the Watchful Peacocks arrives and ushers her away from the scene. And I call to the general, General, come quickly. So I think I've spent 2 holds, one to have the victim and one to have the spirited away. So I've got 1 in my pocket.
Brilliant. So General.
So Zhang Yang steps into scene, carrying a bag of loot. Now, what is so urgent? Your Majesty.
I gesture. She wouldn't come quietly, General.
Well, I suppose there is a tale for the ages, how the Queen of Jin made the last stand, and we dueled among the smoke and the moonlight, and she fought bravely, but she fell.
It would only be appropriate, General, for you to take the credit.
Well, I never say no to a victory, especially when the thing reached me so much.
Your reputation can only be enhanced.
How Your Majesty feels about this?
The credit is yours. I am sure the Emperor will be satisfied with my contribution to the campaign.
And I'm sure this secret will hang over my head should things take another turn. I know your currency, Spy Master. Don't worry.
General, we are loyal servants of the Emperor, and as long as we both continue to serve him so loyally, then surely we have only friendship between us.
It's good to know that we understand what is at stake. We are playing the game of our betters, and both of us have to learn how to play a different game.
But now it would be better for all concerned were I to simply disappear from this scene. And with that, I walk through the smoke the way that the Queen and her daughter have gone.
Excellent.
Oh, it seems the wind was carrying the words of fate. Appropriate.
One of the guards standing, one of your soldiers standing with you, turns to look at the body. My lord. And he picks up the crown and hands it to you.
Jing Heng sneers. With a tainted price. And he gives to another of the soldiers, break it, split into 3 parts, and don't let me know where you hid them.
The soldier bows and runs away to carry out the order. And the scene fades. Sorry, Alan, did you have something else you wanted?
No, I've got one hold left, and that is to have a boat waiting.
Okay.
To take Red Orchid and now a second person to a place of safety, probably a temple monastery. But I don't quite know who's in charge of the boat, because I've run out of holds now.
Is there anyone in particular who is in charge of the boats? Any sort of salty sea dogs that we can think of?
It could be me.
Okay. So these 2 figures dressed in fine clothing, but nothing marking their allegiance, slip aboard the boat. They're wrapped up warm. They huddle in the corner as you sail away. The young girl comes up to you. She's about 16, 17 years old. Where are you taking us?
I'm taking you to the islands, far to the south.
Will we be safe there?
It's the safest part of the kingdom. Safer than a war zone, at least.
She turns and looks at her home and looks at her mother. There's been so much death and destruction here.
Look no more, child. That is no longer your home.
She pulls back the hood, and she's the most strikingly beautiful woman you've ever seen. In that moment, your heart skips a beat. And Perfect Silk Blossom turns to you and says, "We must look to the future now."
Agreed.
And the boat sails away.
Excellent.
Okay, so we will jump to the modern times. The city is in uproar. There are bells clanging all over. There are flares launched into the sky to light the streets. Everywhere, there are people running around with lanterns on sticks, holding them above the rooftops to try and find anyone hiding there. The guards are out. But where the guards are not, or where our 2 heroes have sheltered from the coming storm. Paul, Sabine, where are you going?
I don't think Falling Blaze has any idea. She will follow the Admiral. If the Admiral has no clear idea either, then she will just walk into some direction until she comes to a temple or something.
My plan is that we should head south, follow the river, continue down south, eventually to the ocean. I've got many colleagues there that can assist us, and that's originally where your mother was interested in. Well, not your mother, the Queen was interested in sending you to.
If you think that is a wise course, then of course we will do that. We should just change our clothing, because I'm still dressed for, well, some occasion. Or maybe I've just skipped the overdress and the whole headdress stuff, so I can run around and be an actiony princess. That's probably better. Yeah. Okay.
Well, one of the things about Wuxia is, and these sort of stories, is when you disguise yourself as someone, the disguise is perfect.
Oh yeah, right. Let's disguise ourselves.
So how do you go about disguising yourself? What slightly comical way do you actually go about getting the clothes? Is it just a case of slipping them off lines where they've been hung up to dry, or is there anything more athletic, more entertaining than that?
Maybe we could use a bathhouse to resupply ourselves with some more fitting attire.
Yeah, totally. And I think a bathhouse is going to be close to the river.
Mm-hmm.
So as we float by, we'll pull alongside, pick up some new clothes, and then float downstream.
Yes.
Okay. So are you continuing to actually float downstream, or are you looking for some sort of barge or dinghy or raft?
Yeah, we're looking for a small sort of skiff, or just a small 2, 3, 4 person boat, really.
Okay. Well, this is the capital city. There are boats everywhere that are used for transporting things up and down this river. Everything ends up in the capital eventually. You don't have any problem finding one. So the problem is the one you have doesn't come with oars. And now I understand you have an oar anyway, but the long poles on the boats are used to guide them down. So think like flat-bottomed gondolas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So you move down the river, and the night's setting in, and as you can see the sun in the sky. Sorry, the sun in the sky. Goodness, that's wrong. You can see the moon is out full in the sky for the new year. Behind you, there's a red glow from the flares that are launched up by the city guards as they look for these fugitives. But as you go down the river, a mist comes in and hides your passage.
Well, the ancestors seem to be with us, or at least the river is.
The river snakes and flows, and you follow it, and eventually it widens. But where it widens, you can see several lanterns in the mist ahead of you, and you can hear people singing, people laughing. You can hear shanties and the sailor songs, and you can make out from the number of lanterns there are at least 3 vessels moored in the river ahead of you.
Excellent. I will say to the princess that I'll go first. We'll get on board one, and there's a good chance I may know the captain.
Admiral, I have been thinking while we were floating down the river, is it really wise to run? Somebody has murdered my father. Shouldn't we find out who that was and bring them to justice?
I will totally agree with you, princess, but I think we should lay low for a while to recover our get some food in ourselves, and form a plan. Maybe call in some favors, and then we
Yes.
can return.
Do you think it? I think I have. I know some. I know some people who work in the palace, and I think I would like to. Oh well. Then never mind. We will follow your plan, of course.
No, I think it's a. I'm very interested to return and find out what's happened to the Emperor.
Yes, we should. We must. Somebody in the palace is there. There is a traitor, and I don't know who that is. But well, I don't trust Secret Son. That's for sure.
Secret Son has her own agenda. Sometimes you can trust her. Other times,
Secret Son poisoned my mother with the same poison that was used on my father. I don't think that is a coincidence. I think I should find her and beat the truth out of her.
Let's gather some evidence on that front, whether she actually did poison the Emperor, because we don't exactly know who has. So I'd suggest that we come aboard one of these ships, lay low for a day or so, recover, because we're both slightly worse for wear, and
Admiral,
then, yep.
You're wise, and I trust your advice, but I must do this. I am sure of my own counsel. And then with these words, she jumps off onto the roof and rushes off to somehow find Mistress Secret Son and then challenge her to a duel. Because no sitting around. She is, I don't know, she is 17 or 18. Yeah, she's not the cool. She's not as cool-headed as she should be.
Then I'll jump overboard and pursue you.
Okay, so this is a little bit downriver. So as you go from roof to roof, you eventually have to go from this town to the next. You move along the road, and eventually you get the scent of burning flesh catch your nose. You get this scent of charcoal, of death, of destruction coming from ahead of you on the road.
I shall warn the princess that there may be problems up ahead, and maybe we should act very cautiously.
Oh, you're still there. You are quicker than I would have thought.
I can move. I can move when I need to.
Very well. Then we will exert caution and proceed as normal civilian persons along the road.
You go along the road and you find several wagons that are ablaze. Their bodies lying around them.
I look at them I'm worried. This is in the city still.
No, this is on the outskirts.
Oh, okay.
This is just between the town that you're in and the outskirts of the city itself.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but still, there are bandits so close to the capital. I mean, this looks like a bandit attack, right?
Oh yeah, this is just slaughter. This is absolute slaughter. So as you look at the body, you notice that they're all wearing uniforms.
Huh. There is some kind of assess the situation, isn't there?
There's a study roll.
Study.
But Paul.
Yes, I think these could be Marines.
They are indeed Marines.
Oh no.
Yeah, I shall inform the princess that these are my men that I summoned to escort the princess to the south. And they've been waylaid.
So somebody planned for us to take the blame for my father's death, you think?
Possibly, or they wanted us travelling alone, unguarded.
You think they are still around?
That I don't know, but it would definitely then point towards Reed Sundering Princess.
Would it?
Or possibly Chen Lin, who sent you south.
Sabine,
Yes.
sorry, are you? Would you make the study roll, and then I can give you more details on the situation?
Sure. I love making study rolls. I have to decide on what chi I'm going to use. Oh God, my chi is pretty much... No, it's not. Hey, come on, I don't know. No, okay. So I think for that I will use, well, water, I guess, because awareness is maybe the most important thing right now. Yeah, I shouldn't have used water. I've got a 6, so I've got an XP.
Okay. So as you look around, you find one of the Marines had something clutched in his hand.
I'll take a look. What does he have in his hand?
It's a torn piece of silk. And as you unwrap it, blood-stained all that it is, the embroidered butterflies are quite visible.
Oh. I'm looking at the Admiral and say, look at that. Isn't this perfect silk blossoms dress? Or something that she would wear? But what has she got to do with everything?
I'll inform the princess that I have my suspicions, or my men warned me of perfect silk blossom, and I didn't believe them that she was in league with Chen Lin, but possibly this is the evidence I was seeking.
I can't believe it. I thought she was my friend.
She may have acted as your friend, but she's definitely possibly in league with Chen Lin.
Or somebody meant for us to find this. And oh, my head is ringing. There are so many things. You can't trust nobody.
Paul, can you roll in a conflict, please?
Certainly. Okay, so in a conflict, I think this is really... I'm thinking control here, so I'm going to roll metal. And I got a 10.
Excellent. So you get to choose how you react to that. So, are you now doubting your lover?
Yeah, I think at this stage, this now confirms what my men, some of them that may be lying dead in front of me, warned me about previously. So I think my lover has betrayed me at this stage.
Wow.
Okay. So what do you do going forward?
I still want to find Secret Sun. And I think I am... Okay, I have this move because I'm a devoted child. So that I get once per session, I can call in a favor. And I would like to do that with somebody who is maybe a trusted servant. Somebody who would not immediately betray me to Chen Lin or anybody else.
Okay. Do you have a favored maid servant?
Yes, maybe, or somebody like that. But also, I need to know where usually Secret Sun can be found when she's not in the palace.
Well, I believe that only Alan can answer that.
I mean, interestingly, I was thinking along similar lines, because you remember last time we played, I set a tail on the Admiral, using that same plan at a distance move, and so I got 2 holes for my watcher Lin Lei on the Admiral. So I'm wondering if I know where the Admiral is.
Would you like to spend one of those holds to know where the admiral is?
I think I'd like to know that that the admiral is coming back on this road from the coast. I'm assuming we're not too far from the coast.
Not too well. You're not too far away from the ports that are on the river to the coast.
And I think I might be quite interested to head in that direction.
Okay. Well,
no, I'm just I'm trying to remember the last time I remember the general and I were at a dock fending off assaulted assassination attempts. What I'm not quite certain is how we ended up. Were we together or apart? I remember being up a mast at one point, but I don't remember the detail. Because it might be convenient to know where the general is as well.
You were with the general at the time. So, General Zhang Heng, where did you go afterwards? Did you stay with Mr. Secret Sun?
No, after our delay, and because it was obvious that Jin rebels were active on the capital, so General Zhang Heng, he started to station his men not in patrols around the street, but on the entrance and exits of the town to keep the capital in lockdown. And after whatever happened on the palace happened, he is only reinforced and is trying to make sure that nobody enters or leaves the city. So I think it's pretty obvious for Secret Sun to think that he must be running between checkpoints.
In which case, I think, given that we did have a kind of gentle person's agreement, I think that we had more in common in terms of our aims than we needed to be enemies. So what I imagine is that a runner arrives from Linley, telling me that the admiral and someone else has come out of the river at the port town a little way up the river, and is heading back towards the capital. I think probably then I would want to send a runner to find the general to tell him that I believe we would be both well served to be on that road.
And how does the general react to that?
So the general reads the note from the runner and he curses, "Damn you, Leokin, what is your plan? What did you do with the princess? You better not be turning traitor on us." And he whistles for the nearest horse. And
at that point, you can see an Imperial Herald at the head of the street, moving towards you. He carries a scroll in his hand. He looks quite out of breath.
What happened at the palace? The general demands. "Speak, man."
The Empress summons you. And he hands over the scroll case. You were to report straight away to your chambers.
What did you mean? You certainly mean the Emperor.
I said what I've said. The Empress has summoned you.
He accepts the scroll and gets on his horse. "I'm going to meet the Empress then." Yeah.
Okay. So, Alan, it doesn't look like the general's going to be with you when you actually.
No, actually.
Oh no, I think
that's
what he says and what he does is different.
That's why I mentioned he gets on the horse. He's going to meet the Empress.
Okay. Oh, okay. I get you. I understand entirely now.
If this was a different kind of film, we'd have Love Is a Many Splendid Thing playing over the top of him galloping out of the city gate.
Okay. So, what are the circumstances that you all get together for the first time?
I
in
think
one
that
place.
I will locate myself in disguise in a roadside wine shop, waiting to see the admiral pass one way or to be joined by the general, whichever happens first. Probably 2 or 3 miles outside the capital, far enough to be convenient, but not too close.
Okay, so the question being, who gets there first? In fact, no, I'm not going to ask that. I'm going to actually say the Admiral and Princess Falling Blaze pass first.
And an old crone hobbles out and says to the Admiral and Princess, the equivalent, would you like an apple?
Be gone, vile peasant woman.
But surely, sir, a gift for the lady?
I think the lady is in disguise and is currently in the disguise of a male civilian person.
Ah, right.
Manservant, right? Manservant's good.
Then I think the apple is probably inappropriate, and a glass of a cup of wine is far more appropriate.
Well, of course, I'll take you up on that straight away. No questions asked.
Read your fortune.
Shouldn't we be going? We have a mission to fulfill.
It'd be rude
Sir.
not to indulge the old lady, as she has given us hospitality of this fine glass of near vinegar.
Well, maybe you can stay and I can proceed.
I'm sure she'll only take a minute or two.
I unleash my full presence on the young manservant and fix him with a steady stare and say, you will want to hear your fortune read. And I'd like to roll hearts and minds, I think, using earth.
By all means. So Hearts and Minds works a little bit differently with a PC.
So when you pressure someone,
someone's susceptible to your words. Am I at that point susceptible to your words at all? I mean, you're a crone on the wayside, and I'm going to investigate my father's murder. I don't know if I'm really susceptible.
You've been brought up to respect your elders. You've been telling us what a devoted child you are for days.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay, then I will respect my elders. Go ahead and roll.
So that's 8, 9. So for a PC on a hit, they may mark XP as if they do as you ask. If they don't, they mark chi. They may burn a bond to avoid this. On a 7 to 9, you mark chi as well if they decline.
Okay.
I think at this point I might burn a bond.
Okay.
I might burn the bond to the sagacious blades of change, because I realize that having my fortune read is like yes, I had this bond to these other people who were wise and clever and old and always saying things like, you should do this, young lady, you should do that, young lady. And I'm fed up with this a bit, because my father lies dead and apparently I'm the only person who cares in the world. So I will take off my hand and say, no, crone, my father lies dead and I am the only person who cares to avenge him. I will not be stopped by you. And I think at that point you will realize who I am.
Oh, I think there's no question I knew who you were. But I think that means that you burn a bond and I mark chi mechanically.
Yeah.
That's right, yes.
And you storm off.
Yes.
I am curious, though, whether the Admiral's going to take me up on the offer.
I'll take you up on the offer on the wine. I've got no interest at all on hearing my fortune read to me. But you revealed yourself anyway, didn't you?
I think that yes. Well, I don't know. No, I think what I was trying to do was to use presence despite the disguise. I'm afraid if she thought I was Secret Son, I'd be in a sword fight by now.
Yeah, sword fight.
So I think I'm still a crone offering you a cup of wine and a fortune.
Yeah, I'll take your fortune because I'll take the cup of wine.
And therefore we'll retreat into the wine shop because, as you say, it'll only take a few moments. And there I do reveal myself, and I say, Admiral, get a grip on the princess before she kills herself.
I agree. Luckily, I'm sure she won't get too far down the road. But I have, I believe I know who is responsible for the death of the Emperor.
Well, that is a conversation we should have. Now, I mean, in the movie...
Hound. The death of the... Alan?
Yeah.
The death of the Emperor?
No, you've lost me.
You don't actually know the Emperor's dead, Alan.
Oh, sorry. Yes, yes, sorry, but I know that she's just... Falling Blaze has just said, I'm going to avenge the death of my father.
Oh, of course, yes, sorry. Good point.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. By all means, yeah. Okay. So at this point, I think I'm going to cut over slightly. And I think the princess is running around the road. And as she goes around one of these corners, she runs smack bam into a horse.
And she will mumble an apology.
And the soldiers sit there. She can see a general's livery on the legs. It's part of the uniform. Her gaze shifts up and shifts up. And it's General Ho.
General San Heng, not General.
Oh.
Admiral Ho is in the wine shop with a secret.
No, Admiral Ho is.
Yeah.
This is a general.
This is another general. Okay.
This is a member of the Gang of Eight.
Oh.
And he stops and he looks at you. Stupid peasant.
I'm really itching for a fight. And I think he's just perfect because I will stare at him, and I think at some point, maybe running into the horse, my hat has fallen off. I have one of these raised hats. And I look at him like I'm going to say something, and then I think he'll recognize me.
Okay, so what do you say?
I say my apologies with a deep voice, like I'm a man trying to keep on the disguise, which is not going to work. But Falling Blaze doesn't know that.
I should have you flogged, stupid peasant.
Well, maybe you should write a bit more carefully.
Do not look at me with such insolent eyes. Such familiar. His eyes go wide and his hand goes to his sword. What do you do?
And I will say to him, General, I have not murdered my father.
You will surrender. He draws his sword.
And I draw my usual sword, not the one that's broken. I say, General, this is your chance not to show your allegiance to me. I've not killed my father. Somebody else has. I will get to the bottom of this.
He slips a leg over and drops to the floor. Surrender.
No.
There are soldiers searching the street for you. You will not survive.
I will find out who killed my father. I will avenge my father. Do not get in my way, soldier.
And I think you go to walk past at that point, and he actually steps back in front of you. I cannot let you go.
Well, what do you propose then?
There's only one way this is ending, and that is you coming back with me.
I see another way this could end.
Fortune
at that,
doesn't. Okay.
At that point, I will just step back and jump into a roof of a nearby hut and look down on him and say, well, you can catch me.
He hops up to the back of his horse and then actually uses that to springboard up to you. And he lands on the rooftop near you. You cannot get away from me that easy. Surrender, princess.
I will not. And then I think we'll just commence to fight.
Okay.
Because fighting. I want to fight something.
Excellent. So do you want to roll the dual move at this point? He is below you.
He's below me.
He's
Very
scale,
nice.
He's the scale below you.
That's cool. I have to read what that means. On a hit, I win the conflict. Okay. Yeah, okay. Nice. Okay, I will roll. I will roll with fire because that's my style. And okay, I have a 9.
Okay, so on a 9, you may either let them go or finish them at with a cost, now or in the future. So do you let him escape? Do you beat him and disarm him and let him go?
Yes, because I'm not I was itching for a fight, but I'm not itching for killing somebody. And when the moment comes where I would have to strike him down, I hesitate, actually, and he can get away. But I will take his horse.
Okay. He flips off the roof and runs away. He leaves behind his sword.
Good. I'm not taking it. I'm not collecting swords. So 2 swords are enough.
That's
2
fine.
swords are enough for me.
That's fine. I'm just saying he leaves behind his sword. And you take his horse. And I take it you're going straight towards the city?
Yes.
Okay. And I think coming in the other direction, General Zheng Heng, you've ridden hard to get here. Your horse is tired. And you can hear sounds of a fight in the distance. You see someone holding a blade. You see a dark figure on a rooftop holding a blade to someone wearing a general's uniform. The general flees, runs away, and the figure stops, jumps down to the ground, and takes horse. And is coming towards you. What do you do?
So I'm gonna roll steady.
Okay.
And I'm gonna roll with metal. Let's see how much is my metal. Oh, interesting. Okay.
-1?
3.
You rolled a 3.
Yes.
Okay. This peasant has just defeated a general, just held them at sword point. The general has fled with their life. You can see that the fight was not one that was hard for the attacker. And you know there are Jin insurgents in the area. You found another one. You found another Jin insurgent. What do you do?
Boy, drop that horse and I'll let you live. I am in need of a fresh horse.
Do I recognize him?
I think the general's uniform in this case actually has a full face mask, so you can't quite make out who it is.
I will turn to him and I will say, I've defeated one of you generals today. Do not stand in my way. I am Princess Falling Blaze, and I will avenge my father.
Okay, question. By the conventions of Uxia, a disguise lasts until it's countered.
Oh yeah, that counters it.
Yeah, because I was on it, but kind of with the fictional position, maybe she needs to convince me. I don't know which one is more fitting.
That's up to you. Or you could let an inner conflict roll decide it.
Yeah, I don't think it's inner. I think this is a very outer conflict.
I could roll hearts and minds.
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
You got leverage.
That's a good way to do it.
And I think at this point I will write. I think it's not very clever, but at that point I have to roll it with fire because I am really passionate right now.
Oh yes, definitely.
Yeah, that was not a good idea because I didn't make it, and now I have to mark fire. God, I got to do something about these G things.
Okay, so upon hearing that, Zheng Heng removes his helmet and asks, "How do I know that you are not a trick sent by the enemies of the princess?"
Do I know who you are now? No, I think the moonlight is behind you and I can't really make out your face, right? So let's continue this discussion for a bit. I say, well, as if I cared, actually. I'm just, you know what? I am just so... I'm a bit tired right now. But how do you know I am Princess Falling Blaze? Well, you can't, right? Because I'm usually at the palace. We could go and find General Zheng Heng. He is a good friend of mine. He would recognize me.
He circles.
Ludo. She obviously doesn't she obviously doesn't know what Zheng Heng looks like, because otherwise she would know you're Zheng Heng.
Let's blame it on the sweat of the road and the night. So he circles and he says, "That general you fought, was he one of the Red Reeds, or was he someone else?"
Yeah, do I know that he was one of these Circle of Eight?
Yes, I think it's quite evident that he was a member of the Queen's Inner Circle. The Empress's Inner Circle.
He was one of the Circle of Eight.
So the Circle of Fate are also involved in this mess. First the Red Reeds, now the Gene Infiltrators. Now
what do the Red Reeds have to do with all of this?
Hopefully nothing. We have to get some ourselves.
What is that noise? I think somebody's coming.
Turning around the head of the road, you can see a bevy of people coming forward in ranks. They're carrying torches at the outlet side of them, and you can see what appears to be at least a good 100 people coming down the road.
General, it was a pleasure, I think, chatting with you, but I really got to go now. I am not in the mood for talking to 100 soldiers right now. I wish you a pleasant evening or whatever.
Join me in my army. It's the only place that you can be safe.
Why should I trust you?
You seem to be very lacking in people that you can trust for. And your betrothal is not very reliable, is he?
No, I think my betrothal is over. And I think I have to fight right now because I really want to break down at this point, but I can't because, well, there is this unfamiliar person and I'm not, and my father is dead. And oh God, I'm so tired of everything. I haven't had the time to process this. I will do what he says. Okay, so I will join your army, whatever. I need to find Mistress Secret Sun. Do you know where she's at?
No, I was hoping that she would rendezvous with me because we were planning to safeguard the princess together. Turns out I had to find the princess on my own.
Well, I am the princess.
Well, yes, but where is Secret Sun? She should be here taking care of you, not leaving you alone by the road.
What?
Halt! Who's there? And the sentries at the front of the marching column step forward with their lanterns.
I will pull the hat over my face and...
Fool, don't you recognize the general of the Emperor's army? Is that how you address your superior?
My lord, I'm sorry. It's hard to see in this light.
Then go back to your patrol. Keep yourself together.
Very good, my lord. And the troops are coming closer.
I will stand aside and try to remain unobtrusive and like I'm of his army.
We shall not linger. The Circle of Fate clearly has more people around.
And the troops march past you as you stand there with your conical hat down as they go past and into the town. I think at this point we'll cut back to the town.
Where I think I need to have a man-to-man talk with the Admiral, because I'm just looking at my entanglement. Admiral Leho Quinn, a rival, has threatened to tell my lover, Reed Sundering Princess, how I betrayed them during a rebellion. Now, frankly, I'm having significant doubts about Reed Sundering Princess. And I think I need to explain to the Admiral that he can tell her whatever he friggin' likes, because at the minute, I think that she's a risk to everybody.
I will agree with the Spy Master, but I will say probably the biggest threat is the Gang of Eight and the Queen.
Do you think...
Technically, she's not the Queen anymore, is she? If we've got a new Empress, she's actually nobody.
Do we know? We're assuming that Reed Sundering Princess is now the Empress, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Can we just cut out of characters? What actually is the way lineage works?
It would go if the Emperor is dead. It would go to the heir designate, so it would go to Reed Sundering Princess.
So the Queen she stands no chance.
She'd be the Dowager Empress at that point, but she would have no say in the actual governance of the realm.
Okay. Then I'll say to the Spy Master that yes, I believe that my lover, Perfect Silk Blossom, is working for the Queen and the Gang of Eight. This has just been confirmed to me with some dead Marines me and the Princess saw earlier. So I think she should be brought in for questioning.
So, if the new Empress Reed Sundering Princess could be successfully played off against the Dowager Empress Chen Ling, a gap might appear into which a more sensible heir could step.
Indeed. and I think that it would be Princess Falling Blaze would make a fine Empress.
If I had not seen what I've just seen, I might have agreed. But I think that she may have a touch of the same psychopath. That oh God, I think that I'm going to have to. I think I'm going to have to roll for inner conflict.
Okay, roll for inner conflict, please.
I think that I am going to roll with wood, patience, growth, and curiosity, because I'm getting impatient, which explains why it's -1. So we'll roll with that, which gets to 5.
Okay, so
so on a 5, on a 10, you manage to keep yourself together. Something like you must either flee the scene or mark chi until you make a change in the entanglement. It doesn't tell me what happens on a fail.
on a fail, it's basically a hard move by me.
Oh, fine. Then hard move me. And the Admiral by association. Sorry about that, Admiral.
Okay, so just to clarify your mindset at the moment. You think Reach Under in Princess is not suitable, but now you're having second thoughts about the actual Princess Falling Blaze as well?
No, I think Falling Blaze is still a better bet than either the Dowager Empress or the new Empress Reed Sundering Princess, who I think will just tear the Empire to pieces in some kind of rampaging war. And I think Chen Lin is just dangerous. And I don't prefer to be the only dangerous person in the palace.
So who can you trust, ultimately?
Apart from my my closer staff within the Watchful Peacocks, in theory, I should be able to trust Crystal Hammer, because she works for me, or they work for me. But I think I trust the General. I think that I am inclined to trust the Admiral. But in terms of the organs of state, I'm not sure I trust many people at all now.
So ultimately, who do you trust more than anyone else?
The loyalty of the Watchful Peacocks.
So do you think you'd make a better Empress?
That has not yet crossed my mind. I think I'd be much better behind the scenes.
Okay. Oh, so hard move. Hard move. I think you're starting to come to the realization that the only way to actually have order is to impose it.
Right. Well, then I will need to get back to the city and get the Watchful Peacocks to activate the plan of the falling leaves.
And at this point, a shout comes from outside of the inn. Admiral Lee Ho Quinn! Come out and surrender!
Does this inn back onto the river?
No, I think you're actually a little bit away from the river now.
Yeah, okay, I'll go outside and see who's outside.
You walk outside, and the square outside the actual inn is full of troops. There are troops in full heavy armor, the shields put forward, spears and halberds actually held out towards you. They make a space as you come forward and back up and create a circle around you. You can see a colonel sitting on top of the horse in the back, in a few ranks back. Admiral, you will surrender to us.
On what charges?
Treason.
Treason of what?
You have aided the murder of our empress. Our emperor, sorry.
Who did I aid?
You aided the renegade Fallen Blaze princess.
So who has sent you?
We act on Imperial authority. Surrender. Now.
Yeah, sure. I'll surrender and go to the palace and sort all this out, because I'm sure it wasn't the princess.
Okay, so troops come forward, and they have manacles that they hold out to slip your hand. Well, sorry, wooden stocks to slip your hands into.
Yep, sure.
They take your oar from you, and they start marching you towards the palace.
Not a problem. Can I just at least finish the wine?
The general on horseback looks at you. Very well. It's going to be the last cup you have for a while. Help him. And one of the soldiers comes back out, goes into the inn to get the wine that was on your table. Alan, you're still in there. Are you still in there? Have you slipped out?
No, I was going to say I was watching from the shadows, ready if necessary to use my last hold from Lowell, the Admiral's Watcher, to add a +1 forward if the opportunity arose.
Okay.
But for the moment, I think I am inclined simply to slit the throat of the soldier and emerge in uniform, carrying the cup.
Okay, so the soldier bends for the cup, and at that point your blade just and the red falls, and the soldier falls perfectly on the table. There's some screaming from one or two of the other members of the actual inn.
And then I get into his uniform.
Okay.
And emerge, apparently, because disguise is perfect and timing's always a little bit woolly in these things, as though he just popped inside, and hand the glass to the Admiral and make sure he can see across the kind of face guard who's on the inside. And then I'll simply join the ranks and follow on.
So the soldier comes back to you and hands you holds up the actual glass, the cup for you to drink from. And as you drink, you catch a familiar glint in their eye.
I shall acknowledge that I have seen who it is. I will sip the last of the wine, and I will proceed onwards. And we'll go a bit towards the city before I'll attempt something.
Okay, so we'll head towards the city. At this point, I think I'm going to call out midpoint break. So we'll have a 8-minute bio break and come back at 1:30, if that's okay, folks. So I'll see you in 8 minutes. Okay, so I think it's just Alan we're waiting for now. There we go. Welcome back. Okay, so sorry, for some reason I think they're doing some work on the tram lines outside my house. So if we hear some noise in the background, I do apologize. I need to get a soundproof room. Yeah, the cat seems to have got it. So fierce hunter of all things, of men and beasts. Also happens to like to sleep on my chest while I'm in bed, so there is that as well. Okay, so the Admiral and the disguised Mistress Secret Sin, Secret Son, Mistress Secret Sin, that would be an entirely different sort of character, head off with the soldiers towards the city. But I think the people who got there, get there first is the General. General, where are you taking the princess?
I'm taking the princess to the camp where the Legion is stationed. This kind of barracks that they built where they will stay while they were taking care of the security, and that for all intents and purposes have been preparing to leave for the north next morning. So it's the camp is an uproar as everyone is preparing, putting stuff on oxen.
Excellent. Is this in the city itself, or is this actually in a fort outside the city?
It's on a fort outside of the city.
Brilliant. So you arrive at camp, and there seems to be a bit of a commotion. There's people going around putting up posters, and you can see the troops visibly crying. The morale amongst the troops themselves seems to be rock bottom. As you pass by, there's literally one soldier sobbing in the street as you move up the road. He doesn't salute. He doesn't even notice you.
Man, the Empress needs us. Our empire needs us. Our families, our homes. In this day of mourning, they need us more than any other day.
But today is such an ill-omened day. I can't believe it. I can't believe they're gone.
They?
Have you not heard? He goes over and rips down one of the posters that they were putting up and hands it to you. As you look at it, it's an announcement. The wall to the north has been breached. The nomadic riders have flooded into the north of the empire.
This cannot be true. It's supposed to be a decoy only.
I know that at least two of the armies up there have been killed. Two, General Shining Spear and General Falling Rain. The commands have gone.
We must make their sacrifice worth something. Now that they have fallen, it falls up to our legion to hold the line. We must prevent them from making to the fertile lands of the kingdom because if they set them ablaze, everyone will starve. There's nobody else. Falls to us. Cry today, we march tomorrow.
Sir, he'll salute and get back on with what work he was supposed to be doing. But you can tell the morale amongst the troops is rock bottom. Unless someone does something, this army will not be in a fit state to fight.
I turn to the princess and hand over the poster. I know that it's your birthright, and you know that you are still reeling from your father, but it's the time for filial piety. The best way to honor your father is to protect his legacy and to protect his people. You have to be today the empress that I always knew you were.
And I think at that point, I will maybe recognize you, right? Because you're talking to me directly.
I think so. Yes. In that moment, he's standing there, and the light from the moon catches him. Actually, no. I'm going to say at this point, the moon is setting, and the sun is just starting to rise.
Ooh, yes.
And as the sun rays creep up over the actual top of the fort itself, the light actually drops down until you can actually see who you're speaking to.
And I'm like, oh my God, I want to fall into his arms right now, but also I have to be a princess and an empress, I guess, or something like that. Oh, what will I do? I should roll for inner conflict, I guess.
That's the right answer.
Okay. Oh no, I don't have anything left. I don't have much left, so I think I want...
Before you do that, though, given the actual speech Ludo just gave, I actually think that's comfort and support.
Oh, please. Give
So,
me back
Ludo,
my fire.
would you actually like to roll comfort and support?
Yes, I do. And I think this will be wood. Okay. 11.
Oh, excellent. So 11 on comfort and support. Clearachi yourself, ask them a question they must answer or gain another bond with them.
Okay. I am answered. I know there's obvious what I must answer is that did Falling Blaze ever stop loving him with the tangle of the red reeds and her betrothal?
Of course not.
And you can see as the sun rises and illuminates her, you can see from the glow on her, from the look in her eyes, as she sees you fully in the light for the first time today, you can see that undying love, that unspoken love, the love that you can't actually give word to. But there's some things that don't need to be said. So yes, can you clear a chi?
I have cleared my chi. Do I roll for inner conflict because I still want to kind of fall into his arms?
Yes, please roll for inner conflict.
I will roll that with, I think, water, because wisdom might actually help me now. And it seems to do so because I've rolled an 8.
Excellent.
Which makes it an 8.
So on inner conflict, you must either flee the scene or mark chi until you make a change in the entanglement.
Yeah, okay.
So which is it going to be?
I think I would like to make a change in my entanglement, actually. Because I think I want. What stands? I think what the I will change the entanglement to I love General Sang Hang, but I have to avenge my murdered father first. Would that be okay?
That's fine. Yes.
Okay. So that helps me get out because priorities, right? That's where I get like, okay, I will look at him and I will reach out to him, but then I will stop and say, I hear you. You're right. We have to give these men their heart back after these terrible news. The emperor lies dead. The northern provinces are in a shambles. It is up to us now to do something, to find heart, to find spirit. And then I will turn to the people or the soldiers, and I will lift up the broken sword because I've got that, and it's a pretty important sword. And I will lift up the sword, and I will find some dice or somewhere where I can stand and everybody sees me. And I will stand up and I will call out to them who I am, that I am Princess Falling Blaze, daughter of the Emperor, who was murdered most foully by poison, the same as my mother, the illuminated cloud. But I hold her sword, and I promise you, while I hold the sword, this empire will not fall. We will vanquish the barbarians. We will find who murdered my father. We will do all this if our hearts are brave. You can cry tonight, but tomorrow we will have to fight.
Can you roll impress, please?
Yes, I can. I can add +1 because I have the sword, right?
That's right, yes.
And I think I'll have to roll with fire because yeah. Okay. Oh no, but I've got a 7.
Okay, so on a 7 on impress, the GM will offer you a hard bargain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I will succeed. I will impress them.
That's right, yes. But the bargain here is they gain heart from your presence, and they shout out, "Lead us! Lead us north against the barbarians!"
Well, I guess I'm a bit swept in the moment, and I will totally promise them to lead them north against the barbarians.
They run forward, and they some of them take you up on their shoulder, and they lead you into the troops. And the troops are all holding their hands up to you as you go past.
And I will look back at Sang Hang with regret in my eyes because we can't now spend time together because I have to be there for his troops and lead them north against the barbarians, which is nothing I want to do. But okay, right now I'm here. Okay, great.
And the troops put you down, and they all bow and kowtow to you. And literally, there is a sea of them that bow down. So the question is, Ludo, does the general kowtow?
The general is actually taking a moment that the princess is now on the spotlight to study the situation, because he's a bit overwhelmed by this info dump of the threat of the north, at the situation on the capital that is still very unsure about what it is, and she was just going on about poison father, and he wants to get grip of the situation.
Okay, can you roll study then, please?
Yeah. And I'm gonna roll, I guess, water? Yeah, water.
Okay.
Then, and because of the move that I picked, a taste of cold steel, I have 2 extra questions I can ask.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, and
Does that give you 5 questions then?
yeah. So no. It gives 2 options extra. I
Okay.
still have the normal 3.
Okay.
I just get to +1 forward to act on them. So the question, as I look from my troops, I look to the poster, and I look back at the city. I ask, who here is looking to cause trouble?
I think it's Princess. No, I think it's the Reed Sundering Princess. As obvious as that answer is, I think that's the case.
Okay, so how can I get to the palace without starting an open battle in the streets?
As you look at the people who are kowtowing, you see an Imperial Herald. A very disappointed Imperial Herald with several guards moving towards you. You're reminded of a scroll that you were handed earlier in the day.
Well,
Okay.
You've been summoned to the palace.
Okay, yes. And then the last question, as I smirk at the herald, is what motivates the herald and how I might buy his support?
I think the herald is going to be held responsible for you not attending. And that will be held very poorly by the person who summoned you.
So I approach the herald and say, sorry about that, but it seems that I'm going to have to take a few +1s with me on my audience back.
You are entitled to your personal guards. That is standard court protocol.
Good. And I will make very clear that you had nothing to do with this or my delay.
Oh, thank you.
And
Out of curiosity, what is going on here?
oh, my dear man, it's war. That's what is happening. We are being invaded.
But why are they bowing to that peasant?
That's not a peasant. That's one of my officers, the person that I trust most on this world. In fact, they are coming with me as part of my guard.
Dressed like that? And he looks absolutely aghast and shocked.
Of course
They-
not. Look at me. I'm covered in dust from the road. We are going to get ready for the court.
And he looks reassured by this. Very well, but please be quick.
I nod to him and I approach the princess and I tell her the arrangements I made.
yes, well, do you think I can leave? Your people will be fine if I leave them now, right?
Yes, they know that the emperor is summoned. They probably think that we are going to discuss the details of the war.
Who is empress now? Reed Sundering Princess.
Of course. That's what she wanted.
Who are you asking?
I'm asking him.
Okay.
Well, that's who he's assuming, considering what he learned last session.
Okay, good. So I will dress in a military uniform and be in disguise again. Yay.
Okay. And I think we'll end the scene at that point.
Mhm.
And I think we will cut to a prison in the palace. And I think we come to, and the admiral is actually in the stocks, chained up against the wall. It's a bare prison cell, so there's literally just bars on the far wall with a metal grate that opens to let the people in and out. The boards creak. There's water dripping. As little drops of water come down, there's the faint glow of light reflected off water as well, reflected from the trough in the far end of the room. You've been here several hours now, and no one has spoken to you. I think at this point, Alan, that you because the guards didn't go forward, you've had to actually go away and get another disguise at this point. So you can enter the scene later, but for the first part at least. And there's a noise that's getting closer to you.
Okay.
It's coming down the wooden floorway of the corridor outside. And you see an older man stop in the doorway. General. Admiral, I mean. We need to talk.
Who is it?
It's Master Baudelan.
Okay, yeah, I'll Master Baudelan, what do you wish to discuss?
We have a great deal to discuss. How we prevent this empire dipping into civil war, being primed to that. He takes out a key, puts it into a lock on the grate, and steps inside and closes it after him. He stands here with his walking stick, and he's quite an old man, but he's very well looked after. Where is the princess?
Which one?
My betrothed. Where is my betrothed?
I shall just glance round the cell and say, well, clearly not in here with me.
Don't be glib.
I would like to study him to ascertain his scale.
Okay, so can you roll, please?
Yes, certainly. I'm gonna do this well with some speed. It's not as if he's been in here very long, so I'm gonna use fire at -1. And I rolled 11, so that comes down to 10.
Oh, nice. So I believe you get 3 questions in total.
First one I'll ask is
Sorry, 2 questions. I do apologize.
First one is, what is his scale?
He's on an equal scale to you.
Excellent. And are there any hidden threats here?
No, I don't think there are.
Excellent. Well, yeah, as I looked round the room and said the princess isn't here, I will, with great focus, leap forwards and grab his cane and then push it to his neck and try and sort of pin him against the bars.
You do realise you're in a set of stocks?
Okay, I'll charge with the stocks and just smash into him.
Okay, bang. You smash the stocks and you smash him up against the bars. He brings his hand up to try and actually force the wood down, but you can see he's struggling. Ugh, why do you do this? I do not wish you any harm, Admiral.
I was loyal to the Emperor, and I believe you to be disloyal. You seek his daughter.
I seek the Emperor's will.
The dead Emperor.
I seek the Emperor's will.
Explain yourself before you draw your last breath.
Who
I
told
saw
you
the
that
Emperor die.
you saw the Emperor carried away?
Are you saying you saved him?
No. But there is a difference between death and being carried away. There are those here that say he is dead, but no one has seen the body.
So who do you believe took him?
Who do you think? That witch of a wife of his.
Chen Lin.
Chen Lin.
Well, we have a common enemy then.
Now let me go.
Very well, I shall release my grip on him.
Ugh. He collapses to the ground and uses his stick to force himself up. That was unnecessary. I have come here to help you. I have come here to help the nation.
You came here seeking the location of the princess.
Yes,
Why?
she is to be empress.
And what are your reasons why she should be empress? What about Reed Sundering princess?
She is too much of a wild card. There would be another rebellion, and another. Jin was her fault in the first place.
Agreed, but the laws of the land state that she is indeed the heir to the throne.
No. The laws of the land state the emperor declares his heir.
So you're saying the emperor's nominated Princess Falling Blaze?
I'm saying that I was to be emperor.
By marriage to Princess Falling Blaze?
Yes.
Very well. Princess Falling Blaze and then yourself would indeed make a great celestial emperor and empress. So release me from here and I will go see my friend Mistress Secret's son, and we shall arrange for things to happen and recover the princess.
They know that I have spoken to you. They know that I am here. I cannot simply release you.
Fine. Just leave the door open, and I will get my own way out later.
He steps over and runs his hand through your hair. Literally just goes like that and grabs you back by the back of the head and pulls you close. Listen to me, child, for you are a child. I have no affection for the princess, but I will not see this nation fall into decay. I will not see it fall into chaos. I will not see what has taken 2,000 years to build destroyed. So you may very well escape, but I will not leave the door open for you. And he steps away. And you feel a slight weight in your hairline. Just a very slight weight. Just a
Okay.
small sprig of iron.
That will be enough. I will shout, "Get gone, old man." Put on a bit of show just in case there are some guards.
Okay.
And allow the old man to escape.
Can you roll Hearts and Minds, please?
Certainly. I will do this with, I think, curiosity. So I'll roll with wood at +1. And I get 8 in total.
Okay. So Hearts and Minds on an 8. Okay. So you have the options there. Which one would you like?
I'm going to gain a bond with them.
Okay. In this case, I think you'll gain. Yes, I think you're gaining a bond with Master Delan. Sorry. So can you write in one bond there?
Done.
Okay. So, Alan, what do you do while this is going on?
I think my intention to spring the Admiral from jail is probably unnecessary, though I still have one hold from my watcher to spend on him if he needs help. I think this is instead putting into action the watchful peacock's stratagem of the falling leaves.
Okay.
And this is the decapitation of the imperial government.
Excellent. So can you've got a move that actually allows you to
make a plan.
Make a plan. Yes.
Yeah. So again, I'm slightly concerned I'm overusing Final Master. That may be some feedback.
Okay. In which case, then, can you roll Hearts and Minds?
Okay. Hearts and Minds with what?
Because
I think this is control calculation. So I'll roll with metal with +2.
Okay.
And that gets me a whole 4.
Okay.
Clearly, the watchful peacocks leak like sieves. They are disloyal.
You issue the order. Okay, sorry about that knocking from next door. You issue the order. You sit there and wait and wait and wait. A movement in your periphery catches your gaze, and you turn and look as a single peacock feather falls to the ground.
Which is the sign we leave to those we kill.
Yes.
So I think it's time to leap out of the window.
Okay. And as you leap, a hammer, a meteor hammer, comes smashing through the wall behind you.
I'm off into the dark.
And as you flee, you can see a figure through that hole in heavy armor with dead eyes.
Literally dead eyes.
Yes. Where do you go?
I avoid the obvious watchful peacock's safe houses and instead will head to the docks. No, I won't. No, sorry, I won't. I think I will now have to rely on the only person in the palace I can trust, who unbelievably is the Admiral. So I'm hoping that he's managed to get himself out so we can bump into one another before we're both locked up again.
Okay, so Admiral, how do you escape?
Well, I was just actually going to use my ability, so I was going to meet Mistress Secret Sun at the docks.
Of course, you have all-wheel travel, don't you?
Yeah.
I do seem to remember that all was confiscated, but we won't haggle over that.
There's plenty of oars down the docks.
I think I may have collected that when I left the marching column. So yeah, no, if that works, that's neat. That's neat.
Yeah.
I'll go to the docks, and lo and behold.
So how do we frame the scene?
I think it's you, Alan, possibly walking up a gangplank to a like a civilian, so a non-military ship, and me sat under a sort of a covered to protect from the elements, sat in a chair at the wheelhouse sort of thing, with a table with a couple of drinks, and this is a pre-arranged meeting spot that me and you had.
I think that's fine. I have a suspicion I climb up the anchor chain rather than the gangplank because it'll be more discreet. But yeah, I get it. Um, and so, with a sense of relief, I sink in onto the stool that you have prepared, and I look at you and say, "Well, Admiral, aren't we a pretty pair?"
We are. Both of us fallen some way from grace.
Some distance. The question is, how do we both protect the Empire and ensure that we do not remain so far from grace?
I think we need to remove the Gang of Eight, specifically Chen Lin, and therefore her, what I believe to be her bodyguard. Okay, I'm not too sure whatever that was.
The person next door to me is obviously doing some work in their bedroom at 10 o'clock at night.
Excellent. Yes, I will say to Mistress Secret Sun that I believe we need to remove Chen Lin, and from that we'll need to remove Crystal Hammer.
That's much more easily said than done. You
Well,
need to know,
I've
Admiral.
fought Crystal Hammer previously, so I think I'm getting a grip of their fighting style. So, with some practice, I think two of us could defeat Crystal Hammer, or maybe more.
So, are you suggesting
that we learn a dual fighting technique to bring down Crystal Hammer?
You think that we will need to confront Crystal Hammer? We can't simply poison the Dowager Empress.
That's an option. I'd prefer the more direct route through Crystal Hammer, or at least have a backup plan just in case it doesn't work against Chen Lin and Crystal Hammer comes towards us.
Very good, then. Let us prepare to confront Crystal Hammer. Though you need to know, I'm not convinced that they are beatable.
I definitely think we could possibly, with what I've learned about fighting a Crystal Hammer, we could indeed beat her. And I will therefore explain that Crystal Hammer, I believe to be the late mother of the princess. And I will try and, yeah, so I'm going to look specifically at Mistress Secret Sun to see if she sort of knows this. Does Mistress Secret Sun know that Crystal Hammer is the late?
Is that study?
I can study you, yeah, but I expect you to come up with an answer.
I think that the Mistress Secret Sun will look you straight in the eye and say, "That can't be right. I know she's dead."
I think I'm going to study you just to see if you're lying. So with, I think, with some caution, I am going to study you. So that's at +1. And I rolled 7, giving me 8 on a study, which is just ask one question.
How mechanically? How do bonds work? How does one resist? You know, I'm looking for a help hinder here.
Well, you've got a bond with me. You could reduce that by 1.
And that would just allow me to take 1 off that roll.
Yes, but my roll was at +1, so I rolled 7.
Yeah.
I'm now at 8.
Yeah. So there's no way that I don't think there is. I'm just checking mechanically. The rules don't allow me to make a kind of resistance roll that could allow me to hinder by 2.
No,
Is that true?
Unfortunately, there's no role like that in the system.
Okay. Then in which case, go ahead and ask your question.
Did you know that Crystal Hammer was the late Empress?
No,
Excellent. That's good enough for me.
because Crystal Hammer was recommended to me by the Master Bao Deng, or whatever his name is.
Master Bao Deng.
Master Bao Delan.
Bao
Bao
Delan.
Delan. Okay. This
I
now
believe
starts...
that he created the monster that is Crystal Hammer.
Okay, then I suspect he may be doing something on the Emperor as well. And actually, he may be more of a master poisoner than maybe any of your watchful peacocks. Because he just told me that he has the Emperor.
He has the Emperor.
He has the Emperor. He took the Emperor away. Now, while the Emperor was dying when I last saw him, it doesn't necessarily mean that the Emperor is dead. And therefore, if we need to get to him, he may have some control over Crystal Hammer. So I think we need to work out a way to defeat Crystal Hammer.
Okay. The only other question I have is you were actually with the Emperor at the point that you and everyone else thought he had died. Is that the case?
Me and the princess were, yes. I went and got a drink of water, gave it to the princess, who gave it to the Emperor, who then began to pass away quite violently.
What were his last words?
That I was to go get his will from his chamber. I went there with the princess, but it's actually been removed already.
Then we need to find a way to train you to confront Crystal Hammer.
Yes. Do we now have the Rocky music theme? Me running up and down a gangplank, getting stronger? Or is that wrong?
I think so. I think we have a montage of sorts. It's traditional kung fu montage, so there's quick cuts of different maneuvers going on and people doing things together. And there's actually a move for this, which is called New
Yes.
Technique, which
And
is
that is indeed what I was looking at.
which is on the other moves page. Now, you've encountered Crystal Hammer in a fight once already?
Yes, once already.
So you'd get +1 on this roll.
Yep. And I think I'm going to do this with patience and growth. I'm getting better, so that's going to roll on wood at +1, so I've got +2. Can the Mistress Secret Sun...
No, I don't think you actually get to add a chi to this one.
Oh, I don't add a chi to it, so it's just a straight roll.
Just straight roll plus the number of times you fought them.
Okay, so I can't lose anything if I don't make the roll.
No, well,
excellent.
There are things you can lose, but there will be hard moves as well as a result of it.
Okay, can Mistress Setting Sun assist?
Well, Mistress Secret Sun, do you have any bonds with them?
I do, but I'm just thinking I still have one hole left on my observing the admiral, and I'm wondering whether the way to play this would be to say that I will spend that hold to give him +1 forward to a roll.
Okay.
By providing him with appropriate opposition.
By all means, do that then.
Okay, here we go. I rolled 6. With my +1, that takes it to 7, and yeah, if I need yours, that would take it to 8.
Yes. So do you want to keep that hold at the moment, Alan?
Yes, there's no point. I'm not getting him across the threshold, so I'll hang on to it.
Okay. So
On 7 and 9, there's a significant cost to learning the move.
yes. Dead flesh is not something that's very easy to injure. With a living person, you can pierce a lung and they all stop breathing. You can pierce the heart and their heart will stop beating. I think in order for this to come through, you will need to get a specific poison that will actually bring life back to those bones, bring life back to that body, briefly. And I think you'd need to find that poison to be able to get this technique to work.
Okay, I will train and train and train, and then I will mention to Mistress Secret Sun that a poison would be the most efficient way to bring about beating.
And of course, everyone assumes that Mistress Secret Sun is a poisoner of great skill, where in fact she has no particular expertise in poisons. But that's not to say that she can't put her ear to the ground and try to find out.
So I think that's where we need to concentrate our efforts.
So you ask around and you ask about people who, Mr. Secret Sun, while trying to hide from the peacocks, ask some of these contacts that she has that she's still loyal to actually find out who would have something like that. And there's one name that comes forward. Baudelan. Baudelan is a scholar of medicine, a scholar of the herbs, of the humours.
Well, that's kind of brought us full circle, hasn't it?
Yeah.
If Baudelan did indeed animate the former queen, empress, if I'm at a loss here, I think I need to mull on this.
I think if you were going to find it anywhere, you'd find it in his residence.
Yeah, and I think we might need to go over the wall there and try and find it. But I think we need to contemplate on that, Admiral.
You're muted, Paul.
Oh, yep. Thank you very much. Yes. So after this long, hard training session, I suggest, well, I'll offer you a drink, and we can discuss our ways forwards.
And
so I will try and offer Mistress Secret Sun comfort and support.
Okay. So can you roll comfort and support then, please?
Okay. So I'm going to use I'm going to use focus and clearly state that this is indeed our aim, that we're on a good path now. So that's +1. I rolled 6, so that gets it over the line to 7.
Okay. So on 7 on a comfort and support, on a hit they hear you. They clear a chi or add a bond.
I think I'll clear Earth then, because I might need that later.
Okay.
Any other effect of that move? I can't remember.
No, that's it. The other effects come at 10+. So at that point, I think we're going to end that scene there and move back to the general and the princess as you make your way to the palace. You're both in uniform, aren't you?
Yes, I think so. I'm wearing an 8 uniform, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you get through the outer walls without any problem into the city. You get through the first set of walls to the actual Forbidden Palace without any problems. Problem is, when you come to the inner walls, the guards here know the princess. They have seen the princess over many years. You draw closer to them and you can see that one or two of them look at you closely. Letters and passes.
I have been summoned, and I immediately shove the herald's message in front of them.
The Empress wishes to see you.
Indeed. And I have brought her something that she wants.
Very well. The Dowager Empress is in her chambers. Guards. He clicks his fingers and a small platoon come forward. Please escort our guests. And they let you through. And you go into the palace. You go through the first waiting room without any problem. But the guards take a turn that's not towards the Empress's chambers. They take a turn towards the House of the Red Reeds. And you come across it, this militarized building, this the personal home of Reed Sunderland Princess. And as you grow near, the door gets thrown open. General! Where the hell have you been?
Handling your affairs. Do you know that the Gang of Fate has been butchering Marines? Do you know that the entire surrounding area is in uproar? Things are a mess in the capital.
Butchering Marines.
Indeed.
Come inside. And she walks back into her chambers. And she sits down, and you can see that her servants are starting to put her armor on. So they walk you in, both of you, and close the door behind you. So you're in there with her on her own and her servants. You don't normally travel with an aide.
You will know that this aid in particular is very dear to me. I think the things at hand, there's no sense to make our relationship secret.
What do you mean?
Don't you recognize your sister?
And at that point, I will, of course, take off my face mask.
Her
Because now
her eyes go wide and she reaches for her sword.
I will reach for mine.
And she draws it.
Okay.
Princess, hold your blades for your real enemies, the enemies of your line. Then you are free to butcher each other.
You don't understand. Sister, you're a thief. You are nothing but a thief.
A thief?
You are a thief. You are trying to take what's mine.
Did you poison our father?
Poison? Poison me?
It's not her style. You have to admit it.
I admit that it is not your style, but stranger things have happened, and you are a strategist.
Yes. I deal with battles and wars and death. I deal with ambushes. Your guards didn't make it to the capital. It wasn't the Gang of 8 that attacked those Marines.
Was you?
Yes.
Why?
So you'd be exposed.
As what?
Not as anything. So you would be exposed. So it would be easier to do this. And she raises her sword and swings it.
Okay, I will, of course. I have drawn my sword, so I will defend myself.
Okay, which sword are you drawing?
I am, at that point, I will take both.
Okay.
I will use both swords.
Okay.
Because I believe that she thinks that at that point she might know. I'm getting to the point where I think she knows that that sword is not whole. And I will try to use the fact that she thinks I don't know to get her into a place where she thinks she can break that sword and kill me, and where I can use that to get her to overreach.
Okay, so I think you're a skilled fighter, but she is a battlefield fighter.
Okay,
she has
scale.
She has scale on you.
Yes,
you have skill, but she has experience.
Mm-hmm.
So her blows come in and they clash with the swords, and there's clink, there's clashing sounds, there's metal hitting metal, there's sparks flying. She's was starting to have her armor put on, so she's not got the full suit on. She's got the breastplate with one little flap over here, that pauldron that's not tied in place properly. And you can see her eyes are wild.
I think at that point I might try talking to her.
Okay.
I would say, sister, this conflict, at this point, our father was poisoned. There is an invasion in the north, and you have nothing better to do than to try and kill me? I thought you were a strategist. We need to keep the empire safe, and afterwards we can decide if you're the greatest empress who ever lived. I don't care.
Can you roll hearts and minds, please?
Yes. And at that point, I will roll it with, I think, I will roll it with wood, because I'm feeling that I am rather patient with her bullshit at that point. Yeah, I have a 12.
Oh, excellent. Oh, yes. She carries on fighting. She swings. You catch the sword with your sword with her. You catch her sword with your sword. Let me think about the way that goes. And the blade shatters.
Oh, okay. Mine.
Yes.
My signature sword, which I bought a move for. Okay.
Oh, no. It still counts. It's exactly the same.
Oh,
it doesn't change anything.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It's basically it.
Okay.
I mean, in Hero, they've literally got a character called Broken Sword because he wields a broken sword.
Yeah, cool. Yes, I get that. Okay, cool.
So she stands there, her blades is at your throat. You can see that she's conflicted.
Do you know what was happening when I came upon your sister? She was being attacked by a general of the Circle of Fate. If you create openings, your enemies are going to exploit it.
And I push back against her and say, I'm not your enemy.
You're my sister. Is there a difference?
Yes.
You're a competitor for the throne.
I don't want that throne.
Then why did he name you?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't want that throne. I don't want to marry Beau Delan. You can have him. And you can go and...
She turns around and with an overhand swing, her sword goes thunk into one of the pillars.
Maybe he thought I might be better empress because I don't damage the furniture. I don't know, okay? If he was our father, if he has left a will.
I have done nothing but serve this nation the best way I know. It isn't right that I will be overlooked. I have earned this.
It should be our father's decision, shouldn't it? As a loyal servant of the Emperor. We should both abide by it.
I have earned this. I put down a rebellion. Do you know how many people died in that fight?
I wasn't there. I was too young. And father didn't let me go fight.
No.
You know that.
No, he didn't. Because I was expendable. You weren't.
I'm sorry. I didn't think of it that way. I was so jealous that you could go out and fight and do something for the Empire. And I was stuck in the palace with that wise master Baudelan talking down to me.
I wouldn't say he is so wise. He is knowledgeable, yes.
Well, I always found rather silly that an empire as big as ours has only one emperor.
What do you mean?
What I mean is that court does not befit you, my princess. You always ruled from the horseback. This means that this empire will be better served by two co-emperors, sharing the powers and responsibilities, using each of her talents to the best of their line.
Can you roll hearts and minds, please?
Okay. Oh, what is this? What is this? That makes sense.
You have bonds you can burn.
Yeah.
Yeah. You born before or after?
I think after, right?
Yes,
Okay.
after.
Okay. I think fire or water makes sense, and anyway, they are both the same. So let's say fire. 11.
Yes. My general.
I think what you're suggesting here is something similar to what they had actually in China in Japan rather than China, with the shogun and the emperor.
Kinda. I was thinking, or more, divide the empire, the governorships answering to different emperors.
Yeah, we have a war emperor and a court emperor.
Yeah. So a shogun and an emperor. Kind of.
Yeah, okay.
You were right. You were right that I would treat court just like another battlefield. She stops. She reaches up and puts her hair, ties her hair back into a bun.
I will do the same because I think my hair has gotten a bit messed up as well.
And so she turns round and holds out her hand to her sister.
I will take it gladly.
And she will pull you in. So you're literally face to face. Very well then. And I am sorry for your mother.
Do you know what happened to her?
Yes.
Who did this?
Yes.
And I'm letting go of her hand and push it back. Did you poison my mother?
No. But someone close to me did.
I knew it. And did you know it was the same poison that was used on our father?
No.
Well,
but Baudelan has supplied many poisons for us over the years.
It wasn't Secret Sun.
Oh no, Sin applied the poison. But the poison came from the sagacious blades.
I will not marry this man.
I think that may not be an option anymore.
Good.
Because I am going to kill him.
Go ahead. If I can help you in any way.
Well, the death of an emperor demands that someone pays the price of killing it.
But there cannot be two heads of state. What if we disagree? She turns and looks at the general.
I look at the general as well. He's a wise guy. He'll figure this out.
Well, that's why you have generals and governors and...
You do not understand. There is a reason I assigned you to the north, to hold the northern wall. You are competent. You are trustworthy. When I said not to mix with my sister, you honored my words. I trust you.
Well, I think then if your majesties might allow me the audacity, that's when you should have some sort of body of government that has magistrates, sages, village elders, the people represented.
You don't understand. Will you marry us?
Both of us.
2 empresses and an emperor.
Oh.
2 empresses to rule, and when we cannot decide, 1 to break the vote.
Well, if both agree that I will be an impartial party...
I have no objection to this.
Then we must set about making that so. She puts her hand forward.
I put my hand on hers, and then I look at Zhang.
And she looks at you at the same time.
So a very surprised Zhang that has no idea what is happening puts one hand above and one below and closes the hands of both sisters. If this is what it takes to mend the fate of the empire.
Now we need to find a way to kill our mother. And I think I'm cutting the scene there.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, so Paul and Alan. Okay, so Paul and Alan, I believe you're going over the wall into Master Zaudelen's house.
I think we decided we didn't have any option, did we? We have to reanimate some of Crystal Hammer before the Admiral can kill her.
Yes. So how are you going in? Just give me a rough idea of how you're going in. Are you going in disguise? Are you going in over the roofs at night?
What do you think, Admiral?
I think we'll avoid the disguises and we'll go up and over the wall along the rooftops.
And if necessary, who provides the distraction and who gets into the room?
As I'm wanted, probably in a lot more general sense than you are, I'll provide the distraction if you recover the poison. Because I think you're actually quite knowledgeable about poisons. You're not, but I probably would think it.
Yeah, but I'm much better at breaking and entering, it must be said. So yes, I'll do the breaking and entering, and you watch my back.
Correct.
Okay. So yes, I think it is that that two figures moving across the ridges of roofs on a perpetually moonlit night until we get to the Baudelaine residence.
And this is a large building. This is courtyards. This is upland gardens. This is the actual central building itself is a pagoda that must go up 6 levels. It is absolutely huge, and it's dripping with gold and excess, and everything about this place implies wealth.
Is there anything that I already know, given that I am technically still the head of the secret police? Is there any way I can have a fair idea where his place is? Where are we heading, or do I know that?
You're heading to the area just outside the Forbidden City.
I was thinking of within the compound. Within.
Oh,
do I know where I'm aiming?
Yes, he will go. He will have his residence in that highest room, so he can look over the world itself.
Right. So this is about leaping from rooftop to rooftop, and then I kind of see us see the Admiral making a kind of linking his hands together and flinging me up to the first level of the pagoda, so I can lower a silken rope to him and he can clamber up.
Yeah,
sounds good.
Sounds good.
So and that way, I think we get to level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4.
Yes, and I think it's late at night now. So again, you get to the top level, and as you stop at the gold gilded windows, you can hear heavy breathing inside.
Do you hear that, Admiral?
I think that's a sleeping old man.
I fear it may be a waking dead emperor, but I'm prepared to go with your suggestion.
Oh, that's a good point. It could also be the dead emperor. Hey, let's find out.
So I think I will use the move. Hang on, where's it gone? It takes a thief. You can slip from any restraint or pass through any door or window as if it were open.
Yep.
So I want to appear on the far side of the room from that noise.
Okay. So as you enter the room is draped with gorse and fine silks. You can see a figure in a very simple bed with a small little lantern beside and small little candle beside it. And every time the figure breathes, it's like a death rattle. There's a stink of decay and death here.
I turn to the Admiral outside the window and say, "Dead Emperor."
Really dead? Make it so.
I think the primary function here is to get the necessary poison. Now, I'm looking around the room at where Baudelaine keeps his various herbs and bottled goods.
There's a table on the far side with a cabinet under it, and you can see there's various small little files and pestle and mortars and small bits of ironwork with little burners under them as well.
And we know what we're looking for here, don't we?
Yes, you do.
And I'm guessing this is on the side of the room where the figure is lying abed.
It is. What you're looking for here is a potion, a medical potion. The commoners call it the peaches of immortality.
Okay.
It is actually a. It gets soaked into a peach blossom, and the actual petals from that must be forced into the mouth.
Oh, that's going to be really easy with a crystal hammer coming fast.
It's Wuxia.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I want to get to the other side of this room and find the right potion bottle.
Okay. So
I think that's probably overcome.
It is overcome.
Let me think. With the most logical is caution. No question, caution. So we had +2 to that. 6 gets to 8. So on an 8, you flinch, hesitate, or stall. The GM can offer you a worse outcome, a hard bargain, or ugly choice.
As you walk across the room, you hear the figure in the bed. Is that you, secret son?
I will admit some surprise at this. And the stupid, inquisitive bit of me. Yeah, because I have -1 at wood, which is patience, is diverted from the search for the potions to the figure on the bed. Can I see who it is?
Yes, as you get close, they are pale, they are clammy, they stink of decay. But you look at your emperor laying before you.
Oh my. Kill the emperor, take the bottle. We can't. This is not the emperor. This is not the son of divine light. This is a perverse corruption of that.
The emperor's eyes open, and he has the same dead eyes that Crystal Hammer has. Is that you, secret son?
Yes, my emperor.
I can smell the sea. I can smell the sea. Is my monkey here?
I think I will glance over my shoulder to where I hope the Admiral is looking through the window.
I am indeed looking through the window. Very well, I shall climb in through the window with my trusty oar in hand.
And I am at least curious to see what the dead emperor has to say to his monkey.
My monkey. My friend. You failed me! And the figure, it's almost as if from laying down to upright in one thing. The fingernails are claws, are blackened claws, and he dives for the good admiral.
Well, I think the good emperor is going to get a slap to the face with a 6-foot oar.
Okay. The oar smacks him round the face. There's a crack, and his head spins round. And he's now looking at you, secret son.
Then I think I need to behead him.
Okay.
So, rolling with Earth, because we can't be messing about here. That is 9.
Your blade, go.
I
Sorry,
will
what?
burn a. I'm willing to burn a bond to flick that to a 10.
Okay, so what are you actually rolling there, Alan? What move are you rolling?
I'm using my secret soul, my combat technique.
Okay, so you're rolling duel, are you?
I'm wanting to have a clean beheading here.
Okay.
Except you're going to tell me he's a scale above me.
Unfortunately, he is a scale above you. Although there is something in the room that will actually reduce that scale and allow you to beat him.
Yes, which is the same potion that we might have a go at with Crystal Hammer.
Yes.
Well,
so
just doff a bit of it in his face.
So you smack him with the actual the oar. Sorry, sorry, the oar, the blade. Your blade digs into his neck and stops. It's like trying to cut steel.
Mm. And so now it's about distracting him enough. No, I shouted at the Admiral, distract him, distract him.
The hands reach up. And the Emperor is now looking directly at the Admiral. Distract me. And it swipes at you.
Because I think in the fiction, I'm the one who knows what I'm looking for potion-wise.
Yes. The creature swipes at you, Paul. Yep. And its claws leave bloody nail marks across your chest, cutting into your clothing. In the way that you get in films, so it goes shh, and your clothes are basically just shredded.
Okay, I'm going to keep backing away from the Emperor, goading him towards me, towards the window, hopefully giving Secret Son enough time to get the antidote or the poison in a hand, and then somehow into the
Okay.
Emperor.
Can you roll Hearts and Minds, please, to keep its attention on you?
Certainly. So I'm going to do this with caution, really. Yeah, I don't particularly want to get raked again. So here we go. 8, that lifts it to 9.
Okay, so a 9 on a Hearts and Minds.
I think I will burn my bond with the Admiral to give him +1 on that.
Okay, so that goes up to a 10. So yes, the creature keeps its attention on you.
Oh, sorry, I've just realized I still have 1 hold on my keep an eye on the Admiral. Can I burn that last one? Just get rid of it.
Yeah.
There we go. So that one gives you +1 forward.
Yes, so that becomes a 10 now. So it keeps its attention on you. It swings and the fight goes back and forth. It cuts its fingernails cut small chips out of the actual wooden oar itself. Not enough to damage it structurally, but enough for effect. How do you fight it? What do you do to actually put it in a position so that Alan will be able to actually put the poison into its mouth?
I think as the oar's getting more and more sort of chipped at, eventually I shall spin it sideways, leap forwards, and literally just try and land on top of the Emperor with the oar. I mean, it's a good sort of quite a thick oar across his sort of windpipe. And as I land on him, I know that I won't be able to hold him, so I'll shout quickly, get it in his mouth.
Okay, it's clawing at you the entire time. we see the hand comes up and goes shh, and leaves the red bloody welt down your face.
Quickly.
Alan, can you roll study, please, to find the right...
Study. Okay, I think
In fact, no, don't roll study. I'm just going to say that you find it, given that we're 5 minutes from time.
And therefore overcome to get it in his mouth.
Yes, please.
With control, because it has to go in the right hole, doesn't it?
Yes, it has to go in the right hole.
That is 9. That is 11.
Oh, that's fine. The Admiral's holding him there. It's taking chunks out of the Admiral's body. There's blood everywhere. Well, as much as you get in these films. And how do you actually put this petal in his mouth?
Well, literally, his attention is towards the Admiral. I come up from the head end, and I hold down the jaw, put it in, and jam it shut.
There's a noise as the air leaves the body.
And then I chop his head off. Oh.
Give it a second. The eyes go wide, and you can see the darkness in them. Goes away. You can see the irises, which were huge. Sorry, the pupils, which were dilated, shrink down. It looks up. It looks up at you. And it smiles. My monkey. And that's when your blade falls. And the head tumbles away.
Kill the Emperor, save the world.
And at this point, you can hear alarms going up outside the building itself. You can, as you go to the window, you look down, you can see that guards are gathering in the courtyard. Now would be a good time to leave.
With the petals.
And is there anything you say as you leave, given that this is the closing frame of this episode?
I'd like to roll for inner conflict, because the Emperor promoted me to my position. I've just killed a man I owed everything to.
Okay.
That wasn't the Emperor.
Please roll
at the moment of his death, that was the Emperor.
Please roll in a conflict. Yes.
I think with control, no, with passion, actually. With passion. So this is +0. That's 8.
Okay. So 8 in the conflict roll.
You must either flee the scene or mark chi until you make a change in the entanglement. Well, I'll mark chi.
Okay.
But I will change that entanglement by next time.
Okay. So as I said, you and Paul, you have the final frame of the scene. Is there anything you say, either to each other or to the world or itself, as you stand there in that window, look down over the capital city, with the guards gathering in the courtyard below? What do you say to close the episode?
Go for it, Admiral.
Well, I always like as if I reckon there's a large lake at the bottom of this, and I turn to you and go, "Do you want to live forever?" And then we leap.
And that's it. Credits come up, rolls, and then to be concluded. And that's the end of our episode. So yes, that was technically episode 4. But wow, an awful lot happened there, didn't it? So we have one more episode left. So it'll be this time next week. I'm not going to be sending out the confirmation emails as I've been doing. You've shown up enough now that I don't think I need to hassle folk about if they're attending or not for the event.
Just check out about the waitlist because I'm not able to attend it next week.
Oh, I didn't realize. Oh, okay. That's fine. What I will do then is I think Walter's on the wait list, so I will have a word with Walter and see if we can go through a bit of the character gem before he hits the session. In which case, then we're at 11 o'clock now. Is there anything that the general and the princess want to say to actually close the session themselves?
I don't know. I think it's better to leave it open for Sabine to then retroactively have a flashback next session. But I think it creates a good opportunity to remove the general as he departs urgently to North.
That's fine. I'm happy with that.
Cool.
Okay. So
Okay.
at which point I will stop the recording.